welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into Unit 6, Topic 2, State Expansion from 1750 to 1900. This is the heart of the age of imperialism, so grab your notes and let's get this review started. So, what's the big idea here? Industrialization didn't just change how people worked, it completely reshaped global power dynamics. Industrialized nations in Europe, plus the United States and Japan, started looking around the world, not for friends, but for resources and markets. This hunger for expansion is what we call imperialism. Let's start with the justifications they used. You'll hear a lot about social Darwinism. This was a twisted application of Charles Darwin's survival of the fittest theory to human societies. Imperial powers argued they were biologically superior and therefore had the right, even the duty, to take over lesser nations. It was a messed up way to justify conquest. Another key justification was the idea of a civilizing mission. They claimed they were bringing progress, Christianity, and modern ways of life to colonized peoples. Think of Rudyard Kipling's poem, The White Man's Burden. It framed imperialism as a noble, self-sacrificing duty, conveniently ignoring the exploitation and violence that came with it. This was a powerful piece of propaganda that made imperialism seem almost heroic to people back home. Now, let's talk about how this expansion actually happened. We'll start in Africa. Before the 19th century, European presence was mostly limited to coastal trading posts, but that all changed. Britain, for example, wanted to build a canal in Egypt to shorten the sea route to India. They took control of the Suez Canal and eventually all of Egypt in West Africa. The story is similar. Britain established colonies like Sierra Leone and the Gold Coast. France, after being pushed out of North America, turned its attention to Africa, taking over vast territories in the West, including Algeria. The competition got so intense that European leaders gathered for the Berlin Conference in 1884. Picture this: a bunch of European men carving up a map of Africa like it's a birthday cake, with 0 African representatives present. This scramble for Africa led to the creation of colonies that ignored existing ethnic and cultural boundaries, planting the seeds for future conflicts. The only countries that remained independent were Ethiopia and Liberia. And that's a story of resistance we'll touch on later. Let's shift our focus to Asia. The British were already deeply entrenched in India through the British East India Company. After the Sepoy Rebellion in 1857, the British government took direct control. Establishing the British Raj, India became the jewel in the crown of the British Empire, a massive source of raw materials and a huge market for British goods. Meanwhile, the Dutch tightened their grip on the Dutch East Indies, what we now call Indonesia. They focused on producing cash crops like sugar, pepper, and coffee for profit. France, not wanting to be left out, created French Indochina, which included modern-day Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, also for cash crop plantations. What about China? China wasn't formally colonized in the same way as India or Africa, but it was subjected to what we call economic imperialism. After the Opium Wars, Britain and other European powers forced China to open up to trade through a series of unequal treaties. They established spheres of influence, which were areas where a particular European country had exclusive trading rights. This severely weakened the Qing dynasty and eroded Chinese sovereignty. Now, for the newcomers to the imperial game, Japan and the United States. After the Meiji Restoration, Japan rapidly industrialized and realized it needed its own colonies for resources. They looked to Korea, which had long been a tributary state of China. Japan's victory in the Sino-Japanese War of 1894 gave them control over Korea and Taiwan, marking Japan's arrival as an imperial power. The United States also got in on the action. Fueled by the idea of manifest destiny, which originally justified westward expansion, Americans started looking overseas. After the Spanish-American War in 1898, the U.S. acquired the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico. The decision to annex the Philippines sparked a huge debate and a brutal war. But ultimately, the U.S. joined the club of imperial nations. But this expansion wasn't just about grabbing land. It also involved settlement. Large numbers of British citizens moved to settler colonies like Australia and New Zealand. In Australia, the continent was initially used as a penal colony, a place to send convicts. As more settlers arrived, they displaced and devastated the Aboriginal population. In New Zealand, the British signed the Treaty of Waitangi with the indigenous Maori people. But systematic takeover of their land led to the New Zealand Wars. Russia's expansion was a bit different. It was a land-based empire. Throughout the 19th century, Russia expanded eastward, conquering territories in Central Asia and pushing all the way to the Pacific Ocean, absorbing diverse ethnic groups along the way. So, to recap the main players and their territories, Britain had a global empire including India, Australia, and large parts of Africa. France controlled much of North and West Africa and Indochina. The Dutch held the East Indies. Belgium brutally exploited the Congo Free State under King Leopold II. And the new kids on the block, the US and Japan, carved out their own empires in the Pacific and East Asia. The key takeaway for AP World is to understand the motivations, justifications, and methods of this new wave of imperialism. The combination of industrial might, nationalistic pride, and ideologies like social Darwinism created a powerful drive for conquest. The consequences of this era were profound, leading to the subjugation of millions, the redrawing of the world map, and setting the stage for the global conflicts of the 20th century. Remember to connect these expansions to their economic drivers: the need for raw materials like rubber, cotton, and diamonds, and the desire for new markets to sell manufactured goods. It's all connected. Alright, that's a wrap on topic 6.2. I know it's a lot, but understanding these patterns of expansion is crucial for the exam. Keep reviewing, stay focused, and you'll do great. Up next, Unit 6, Topic 3, Indigenous Responses to State Expansion. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more AP World reviews.